LaCroix, classic.
Okay, and we are live. This is Live in the Castro, episode number 2. We are beaming out through the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. So I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction while we're making sure that this is streaming out on all of the different places. If it's working for you, please let us know in the chat rooms. It's a great time to share it around. And yeah, so let's see here. I am going to look at the schedule on the Reinventing app. If you go to the Apple Store or the Google Play and do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo, you can just download it. You can also go to community.reinventingthetattoo.com. So this is Live in the Castro number 2 with Haley Adams. You can check out the podcast store. So if you just go to any of the podcast stores and do a search for Live in the Castro, you can subscribe. We're doing these, it seems like once a month. You want to pay attention to the schedule to see when the next one will be. The last one was with Leslie Ma. It's pretty awesome, and you can check out the replay either go to the podcast store and do a search for the podcast. Let's see, we have a whole mess of reinventing drawing groups. They happen at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays. These are all Eastern Standard Times. 1 o'clock on Sundays and 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday mornings. And artists from all around the world can beam in. Everyone's drawing together. They're doing their tattoo homework or whatever. You can either, like I said, you can either beam in or just listen. There's always good conversations. And the replays are fun to kind of put on the background too. They're about an hour or two. Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, we have a fantasy art painting jam with Leo. So this is where everyone's usually setting up their easels and painting, although if you're doing digital or whatever kind of art creation. This one is going to be Monsters and Mythology, and Leo's he's a fantasy illustrator. He runs with a lot of the illustrator types and has taken lots of great classes and whatnot. He's awesome. Okay, that's Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Mondays at, like I said, Monday morning we have a drawing group at 9 o'clock. At noon, Needle Jig, Mark Lascarbo is doing interviews or tours or some sort of technical talk with tattoo machines or some such. 9 o'clock at night on Mondays is the Reinventing subscriber group exercises. So people that are paying for a guy's subscription, it's $2.99 a year. It's you get the whole curriculum. It's fucking crazy. It's got dozens of webinars, but you also get Monday exercises with guys. So everyone kind of beams in. Everyone's doing exercises from the curriculum and getting feedback from Guy and everyone else. It's sick. Okay. We've got, but the schedule's crazy. There's probably like 20 things going on in the next couple weeks. So just go check it out. I'm going to see that this is working. It looks like it's working on the YouTube. It's working on both YouTubes, and it looks like the Facebooks are going out. So I do want to thank our sponsor for the show, Inkjet Stencils, is making sure that we're able to pay for all our bills and stuff. If you go to the app, you can check out their Inkjet Stencils section. They've got some videos where they're printing out like full-on sleeves and back pieces. Andre Malcolm out in San Francisco area, he's doing, like I said, he's got an oversized printer, so he's printing out stencils for back pieces in one shot and sleeves and shit. It's great. inkjetstencils.com or in the app, scroll down, check it out. I am now going to go into the background and I'll be here for any problems or whatever. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat room, but stick around because the questions will be answered at the end during a Q&A session. I will not be interrupting through the course of the interview. So thank you very much for listening to me chatter, and Haley, take it away.
Hello, I'm Haley Adams, and on this episode of Live in the Castro, we're interviewing Ace Vencenzo. Ace is a bold American traditional tattooer from Chicago, Illinois. He has been tattooing professionally since 2013, after he finished his apprenticeship at Walker's Point Tattoo in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ace later worked under his mentor, Sam Bielinski, at Atomic Tattoo until he moved to the Bay Area in 2017. To tattoo alongside Joey Cassina at Ocean Avenue Tattoo. Ace is a trans man who has stories about tattooing earlier in his career as a femme presenting lesbian woman from local street shops to private studios, Ace tells all about his experiences and how moving to the Bay changed his life forever. Okay, Ace, how you doing?
What's up? I'm good. How are you, dude?
Every time I see you, you're always like just super nice and like you listen, and like whenever I hear about other people meeting you, they're like the first thing they say, they're always like, Ace, oh yeah, he's so fucking nice, man.
It's good to know.
Which is something that really stands out to me when we've met so many like pretentious or mean tattooers in the world or in the queer scene.
Yeah.
But we also talked about how being fucking nice to people was super important to you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's so important about it?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to live your life with intention and understand that people have layers, people have trauma. We all go through that kind of shit, you know, like our whole lives. And I just think it's easier to live to coexist with people rather than fight it. You know what I mean? Like I try to put myself in other people's shoes constantly. So it's like, you know, am I being an asshole? Could I take a second and maybe tone it down and see where this person's coming from? You know what I mean? Like I try to, especially getting older, you know, coming out of my 20s now, like I'm realizing more and more that you should reflect on things you say before you say them and process everything. You know what I mean? Because of that, because people have layers. You can't just assume that everybody sucks or assume that everybody has the worst intentions. Like, you know, I'm sure everybody has, or maybe not everybody, but I'm sure a lot of people have good intentions. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not, maybe there's just a disconnect between intent and, you know, what's actually happening. You know what I mean? Or intent and effect. Like, you may have the best intentions, but the way you move forward with something, whether you're talking to somebody or doing something physically, like maybe you had the best intention and maybe it could also come out in a way that didn't seem that way because people were hurt or etc. Or you don't know, you know what I mean? Or maybe you're having a bad day or etc. There's, you know, there's layers, but.
Do you think that you like started thinking about this, like maybe like being in the tattoo industry and like
Sure.
Noticing like
For
the
sure.
full on like just like I'm so angry.
I remember the day actually. I remember the day specifically. I was working at Atomic on the north side with Sam Bielinski. And I, you know, as a female, as a woman, I mean, as a femme presenting woman in tattooing and constantly being talked down to, and constantly having customers come in and say, you know, what, you might talk to them for 30 minutes, an hour. Like,
they're like, where's the tattoo artist?
Yeah,
Can I talk to the tattoo artist?
Who's the tattooer? Like, thanks for talking to me for 30 minutes, but who am I getting tattooed by? It's like, motherfucker, me. What do you think I was talking to you for 30 minutes for? I want to just talk to you, dude, you know?
Asking you all about your tattoo and like where you're gonna put it and what colors you're gonna use. Like you're gonna walk back and relay that to some like guy with a beard, you know? Like
yeah, and so that being said, you know, it was my defense mechanism for my tattooing for a lot of my life as well. Like I was an only child. I didn't really have a dad growing up. My mom was always at work or at school. She, you know what I mean? So I had to take care of myself. I had to fend for myself, and putting up that wall and being kind of a bitch was my security blanket. Like, fuck you, you can't touch me, you can't hurt me, you know what I mean? And that was how I was for a while in tattooing, especially working on the north side in Milwaukee. If you're from Milwaukee or you're from the Midwest and you know the north side of Milwaukee, you know it's like, it's a fucking jungle, dude. Like people are hyphy, like people are fucking on drugs, they're coming into the shop. Like hella fucked up, and we were the latest shop that was open in Milwaukee, I'm pretty sure. So we would get it all, you know what I mean?
It's
And
that super street shop life.
yeah,
Like
super street.
you do have to be like a little bit like, no, you can't.
Yeah, you got to be a
like,
little
no,
tougher.
or like we
Yeah.
have to like work on this. Yeah.
Yeah, you
like,
got to
no,
be a little
you
bit of an
definitely have
asshole.
to pay me this
Yeah.
amount of money. Yeah.
Totally. Like, you know, you had to protect yourself. We had fucking weapons on deck. Like, we were ready for some shit to pop off. Shit did pop off, like, pretty much every day. It just, like, maybe not super crazy. You know what I mean? Maybe not to a point where you got to fight somebody, but we're definitely kicking people out. You know what I mean? Like, we're definitely, like, checking people daily, arguing with people over fucking piercings. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was wild. So
everybody can relate right now. Everybody's like tuning in going, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's always the parents, right? It's always the fucking parents.
They're the worst.
Dude, they're the worst. Yeah, and especially in piercing shops that have piercings, you know, it's always like people are fucking rude because you're not getting, you know, your customers are different at a piercing and tattoo shop because your customers that are getting pierced, like maybe they've never got a tattoo in their life. Maybe
They're
they
like
never even
14
stepped foot.
even.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they can be 14. Shit, if you're in the Midwest, I think you're allowed to
Yeah,
be
that's what it
16 and get pierced with a parent. But yeah, it's like, it's you definitely have to be a little bit more stern, a little bit more like, look, you know, we're not fucking around here. And so at that time, especially in my career, like working at that shop, I got hot quick. Like I was like, dude, nah, I'm not gonna deal with this. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, within reason, but there were times for sure where I didn't have to use all that energy. I didn't have to like snap like that. You know what I mean? I could have, but that I learned that with age. And I learned that I remember the first time Sam took me aside one day. I don't remember what it was exactly. I know it was a customer. I probably hella yelled at them, or I definitely snapped back at them and was like, look, fuck you. I'm not fucking tattooing you.
It's like
And
hard
then
not
they're
to.
out.
And some
Totally.
people learn not to, like they haven't learned to say no. And I think
Yeah,
like
and
that method of just being like, oh no, fuck that is like a lot healthier when you're younger and tattooing and you're like
totally.
in these shops and stuff. Then
Yeah, you're like,
because then if you can't say no, like a lot of people I run into, like they just can't say no. They have a lot of problem with that. And
right.
I'd rather be the person who's like really short with it.
For sure, yeah, get to the point, like, and that was what that's another part of street shops, you know, you're like, what do you want? Like, are you actually going to get tattooed, or are you wasting my time? Like, a lot of people, they just walk in, you never know, you know what I mean? Like, but anyways, Sam told me, he took me aside one day after I had popped off on this customer, and he took me aside and he was like, look, Ace, like, you know, you're kind of an asshole. And I was shocked. I was like, what do you mean I'm an asshole? Like, I thought I was pretty nice. Yeah, like I thought I was hella nice, you know, but he was like, look, dude, like, I understand that, like, you know, we argue a lot with people. I understand, like, people come in here and they look for a fight. And I don't know why they come to the tattoo shop on the north side looking for a fight with all these felons that we work with, like, but they do. They decide to come in here and start shit with the people who work here. And you got to know, like, when to pick your battles. Like, you got to know where to channel that energy. He's like, you're wasting energy, dude. Like, you're just like, you know, maybe you pop off on somebody and you're a total dick, and then somebody comes in afterwards and is totally psyched about getting a tattoo and, you know, hella wants to like look at flash, get something cool, whatever. I mean, even if they don't want to get like a cool tattoo, what you think is a cool tattoo, like, regardless, this next person that walks in, they could be super nice, dude. They could be wanting to get a tattoo from you, but now you're in a shit mood and you're not going to come off across as like a cool guy to work with, or like somebody that's willing to like work with you. You know what I mean? You still have that kind of attitude. So, and you just wasted your energy on some prick who left. You know what I mean? For what? Like, you just blew all your smoke for the day. That's it. Like, how are you supposed to, you know what I mean? So
that's
Sam,
fair. Like that anger and that heat and not like considering the situation, like really
Yeah.
does suck all the energy out of you.
Totally.
Because you're like still ready and like, oh, power mode. Got you.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you. Get out. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was coming from Sam. Like, Sam's been tattooing for over 20 years. Sam Sam owns that shop. Like Sam's seen it all. He's seen a lot of shit. Like he's a hard fucking dude. Like you don't fuck with him for sure. So I'm like, coming from my boss, who's like the toughest dude, like he's telling me to calm down. Like, oh fuck, I'm really an asshole. You know, that was a huge breaking point for me. I was like, oh fuck, like I gotta change. You know what I mean? Like, because that shit's not cool. Like I don't
Do you
want to be
think
a
that's
fucking,
when you started working on it, or
For sure.
did that like resin and you had to like think about it later and be like,
No, that was, I mean, that was
The
definitely,
moment.
yeah, that was the moment. I remember being upset, like, for like a week, like, just upset for a week, like, feeling sorry for myself, like, damn, like, how am I gonna change this? Like, for a few days, it was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, why am I such an asshole? And then after, like, going through my emotional shit, I was like, all right, look, you gotta just do better. Like work at it every day, like try to calm down, take a deep breath, like do things to avoid any kind of like conflict like that. That's not worth it. You know, like you don't have to fucking fight a customer, you know what I mean, who like comes in looking for a fight. Like if they got something to say and you don't got nothing to say, the conversation's done. The energy stops there. You're not engaging in it. Like, okay, sure, ma'am. You want to be crazy? You want to like fucking break our whole glass window in the front? Like, I'm a chill. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna just like sit back, see if I can get your contact info so you can pay for this shit, but I'm not gonna flip out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like it's not like you're not gonna win that battle anyways.
no, what's done is done. People are
If
gonna
someone
act the way
comes
they
in
act.
so heated, like, and so like ready to pick a fight, it's like there's no winning. You're just like fucking.
No, exactly. Like you're gonna lose either way, and they're definitely gonna win. It's not. I mean, it's not about winning and losing, but they're definitely
It's
gonna
got the
get
energy suck, right?
right.
Like the
Exactly. They're
big
sucking the energy from you. They got it. Like they
waste
came
of
in looking for a
fucking
fight.
time.
You gave it to them. You know what I mean? And now it's a problem. Like if they come in looking for a fight, and you're like, okay. Like I remember a few situations after that where I had been practicing like just calming down and whatever, and it fucking worked. People were coming in and trying to pick fights with me, and I was like, look, the piercer's not here today. I can't help you out. Well, why can't you just fucking take me to the back and just pierce it? Just do it. I'm like, no, that's just not how it works. I'm sorry. Like, and then they're fucking flipping out, whatever. I'm like, okay, have a nice day. You know what I mean? And then they walk out. It's done. There's no, you don't need to do that.
You don't want to hit an artery or like paralyze your face or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Unless you're coming after my family or my friends and you're like coming at us, you know what I mean? Then everything can be resolved. Unless it's already fist to face, like you can resolve it. Pretty sure. You know?
I had somebody come in and try to rob the tattoo shop with a knife.
Oh shit.
But it was a nice knife. And I got out of it.
Like,
I got out of it because
nice knife,
exactly.
Dude.
I got out of it by it was this chick and she's like, I just got out of prison, like, I need the money. I'm like, well, it's early in the day, man. Like, we don't have money here. And I was like, man, that's a really nice knife. But she was like a little like speeded out and stuff. And she was like, oh yeah, I got this knife at wherever the fuck. And it was like, wait a minute, give me your money. And I was like, it's so shiny, like, and there's like this rainbow stuff, like, wow, how do you think they do that? And just like stalled until like the guys like came back from the store because there's like two fucking biker dudes like just like up the street, and I was like, I just have to not die for about 5 minutes. Like, but it was all about like, oh wow, cool, that's a really cool knife. Yeah,
totally. Yeah,
with some sweetness. But when and
cool.
like, yeah, I love your
I really
hair
like
today.
your hair, man. Yeah, it's great hair, by the way. Can I offer you a cup of water while you're trying to rob me? You're good.
Would you like some hot tea?
For real.
I asked the like shop owner to put a panic button in because somebody tried to rob us at gunpoint, and they were like, oh no, we'll just get a shotgun, or like you can bring your gun in. And I was like, we're not gonna have a shootout, like that's not my plan. Like
no,
like what are we gonna, we're gonna hide behind the counter and be like boo, boo, boo. Like that's not the best idea.
It's not. No. Yeah, that was what was cool about Atomic. All of our weapons and all of our guns were hidden where you couldn't see them, and we had a counter between us. You know what I mean? Like it was a pretty big shop, but we also had like, you know, worst case, my Libra ass is like thinking like, well, what if? Well, can we hide behind? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, what if this happened? Just thinking scenarios, always like constantly running through that shit in my head, and I'm like
hide
if
behind
somebody were to
this
come in
podium
here,
and get
yeah,
this.
exactly. I'm like, boom,
Yeah.
I hide behind there. There's a post here. There's a back room. Like we're good. You know what I
If
mean?
they both
So,
have guns, it's just like shootout.
yeah, just shoot. It's Wild West then. Get ready. Might as well at that point. What else are you gonna do? You gotta shoot back.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well.
So how was your apprenticeship, and what do you think about apprenticeships? Like, that's actually a pretty big question. What do you think about apprenticeship?
What do you think about apprenticeships in
What
general?
was your apprenticeship like?
Well, my apprenticeship was mostly at Walker's Point. That was where I had got my apprenticeship and I had almost finished it. And I honestly had left early in my apprenticeship because of some sexual assault shit. Honestly, I had a coworker that was super fucking weird, very old school tattooer. You know, the kind of dude that's like fucking comes in for his noon appointment, takes fucking Telemurdu shots and like Mountain Dew, and he's like fucking doing coke in the bathroom, but everybody's like, well, he's been tattooing for fucking 20 years, so let him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of dude. And he was grabby with me, and he made a lot of inappropriate comments, but the second that he grabbed my ass, I was like, this is not cool. I was obviously well, I guess it's not, I shouldn't say obvious because whatever, but that's not true. But at the time I was a femme, I was a woman. Mm-hmm. So I was not, like, I didn't come out as trans yet. And yeah, so I was a gay woman, like, which doesn't ever stop men. But yeah, he fucking grabbed my ass. It was hella fucking weird. He would say shit all the time. I mean, like, I remember when I got my chest tattooed and everybody's being cool about it. No one's being fucking weird. And of course, Pete from across the shop is like, show us your tits. And I'm like, all right, like, not funny, dude. Like,
that shit's
honestly,
like rampant, right?
Get some new material, dude. Horrible. Like, I don't feel comfortable, but you don't give a fuck, clearly, because you're on like coke and you've had 6 fucking shots by now. It's just like, you know. So eventually, I bounced because I was like, I'm not dealing with this. And I had told my boss at the time, I'm like, look, this is what happened with Pete. I don't expect you to believe me. I don't expect you to favor me over him, but I'm going to tell you now, like, it's me or him. So I'm just going to bounce because I know, you know what I mean? Like he taught you how to tattoo. So you kind of have this weird obligation to him, and I know you're not going to do the right thing. So I'm just going to leave.
He taught you how to tattoo? Oh,
no. Pete had taught my boss how to tattoo at the time. Yeah. So, and he was like, for sure. And I left and I went to this other shop that was like owned by this dude, and it was whatever until I was at Atomic, basically. So, yeah. And that was, it was fine. My apprenticeship at Walker's Point. I mean, besides all the weird creepy dude stuff, it was cool. Like, I learned a lot about machines. I had to do a lot of kind of like shitty work, but not too shitty. Like, not like, oh, go fucking pick up my kids from school kind of shitty. But yeah, just like regular ass apprentice shit. I just
wash the car,
I made
do the
laundry.
No,
no car washing. That was another story.
That story of sexual harassment in the apprenticeships is like shared by like a lot of like women in tattooing, right?
Yeah.
And I almost think it is kind of a way for them to like kind of gatekeep or like scare off like women whenever they're trying to learn and stuff. Like,
For sure.
I can think of like 3 homies who have like this a similar experience, and then that's how my apprenticeship ended. Like the guy teaching me like pulled out his stick and was like, "You owe me," you know.
Come on, dude.
And then I was like, oh, my first thought was like, oh man, I don't have a mentor anymore. This sucks. Like I liked having a mentor, you know, like why'd you have to ruin it?
I know a lot of people that have had that experience.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
But not just women, right? It's like queer people and like the racism in tattooing.
Oh, for
too. Like
sure.
the
Yeah.
gatekeeping in general.
Yeah, hell of fucking racism in tattooing, because most shops and most of this whole industry like is run by cis white people or cis white men primarily. Like, so yeah, I mean, with white supremacy being what this country was built on, that's also, you know, how much fucking old Flash do you know where there's like fucking Nazi symbols everywhere and all this like super shitty shit, like ew, gross. But I love taking Flash, like from the same book of Flash that's got that Nazi Flash, and fucking taking something from those motherfuckers and putting it on queer people. You know what I mean? Like, and reinventing it and being like, cool, I hope you're
like taking out all the Nazi shit. Like,
exactly. Right. Like
we'll just avoid that. Haha,
exactly. We'll just ignore that, but we're going to take this rose. Yeah. And put queer on it. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that in the tattoo community, unfortunately. There's a lot of gatekeeping ass shit that I don't agree with. It's funny that we're talking about it, because I don't think that people talk about it enough. I think it's just starting to be talked about finally, that like, why are things this way? You know what I mean? Like, who, you know, it's like I was telling my friend the other day, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but
here we go.
Yeah, here we go. We're talking about gatekeeping and all the shit about, you know, tattooing, and, you know, I'm like, who the people that are saying like, oh, you know, like, well, you know, in order to do this, you got to do this to get into tattooing. You have to fucking have an apprenticeship for this long. You have to do this kind of way. Like, I mean, honestly, I can relate. I had that same feeling for a long time. I think the problem with it though is that like that one black and white way of thinking is built, like everything else, in trauma. Like everybody keeps fucking going through this cycle, like, oh, you have to do this because I had to do that shit, and fuck you for getting it easier than I got it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember one of the dudes at the tattoo shop that I worked at, like, or that I apprenticed at, like, telling me like, oh, dude, like, you're so lucky, like, you don't have to fucking do this and that, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you know why? Because I'm a fucking good apprentice. Because I'm here at fucking 11 o'clock and the shop is cleaned and it's mopped and all the fucking phones are answered and everything is organized. And even when I'm not doing that, I'm doing tubes or I'm doing this, like, and when I leave for vacation, you guys are lost without me. And that's why I don't get treated like shit, because I'm not cocky, because I'm not fucking, you know what I mean? Like, because I do shit.
Yeah, but then you get treated like shit anyways too, right? Yeah, like totally. What an apprenticeship like feels like it should be is like, I mean, how I'm trying to approach it with people who I've apprenticed in the past and stuff is like, yes, do your chores, but I have no reason to throw anything at you or yell at you. Yeah, and like, no, like, there's no reason for hazing. Like, yes, I'm gonna be mad if you cross-contaminate while you're tattooing your grapefruit, but you know, like,
right, exactly.
I'm not gonna like fucking torture you and go, I don't know, I had to do this weird thing where I had to like fill up a bucket of rocks. It was like just pointless, mindless shit to make you like never ask questions why, just do it, you know. It's like,
all right, dude. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I know, that's like how cool. Yeah, it's crazy too. Like, I remember being an apprentice and thinking like, oh, I can't fucking wait to do this to somebody, but it was just because I was so, you know what I mean? Like,
you want to take your anger out.
Yeah,
you want to be like, yeah, I'm gonna make your fucking life hard too. Yeah.
Right, because you can't bitch about it, because like, you're like, I gotta keep my mouth shut and just work harder and show these fucking fools that I'm worth it, that I want this as bad as I do, you know? And I do agree with that part of tattooing. Like, I do agree with like that a lot of people, you know, like if you think about like what's cool, you know what I mean? Like you think like a lot of people think like tattoos are cool. A lot of people think like being a tattoo artist is cool. Oh shit. Sorry. It's good. Nothing broke. A lot of people think like being a tattoo artist is cool, right? So when I was first apprenticing, you know, my friends kind of explained it to me like, dude, everybody wants to be a tattoo artist. Like everybody wants to make money making art. And like on people, like that's even sicker. You know what I mean? So like that's why it's so hard to be a tattooer, because like we got to make it hard, because otherwise like everybody would be a tattoo artist. But
if we judge them based on like the art that they put into it, like my apprentice,
exactly.
like Jorge, has like all these like giant sketchbooks filled and like constantly drawing. I'm like, you fucking want this, like
yeah, totally,
sick, you know?
Yeah.
Like if we just judge it based on that, but then people would give people apprenticeships who like barely like care about the drawing and do just want like this coolness, and it's like, well then stop doing that. Like just find your dedicated people. You don't have to like fucking kick their ass to see if they're dedicated. You can literally just look at their portfolios.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, you don't, I forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry, I'm stoned. What were we talking about? Fucking,
oh, you know, apprenticeships and stuff.
Oh yeah, back on apprenticeship. I think it's important to actually want a tattoo if you're going to tattoo. Yes. Why? Because there are a lot of us already. And I do think that a lot of people think it's cool. Like I think a lot of people think of it as like, think of it as like an aesthetic thing, like tattooing, right? Like they're like, oh, this fucking looks cool. Like I could look so cool. You know what I mean? But like nobody actually wants to fucking do it, or nobody wants to like be anybody's bitch boy and like go to the fucking grocery store for them and like shine everybody's shoes and fucking clean all the tubes and get everybody lunch. Like, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how you wean people out, right? To see if
that's
they really
not
want
even
it.
hazing. That's just like,
no, that's just
you gotta
shit.
That's like you gotta know the shop and how it works from square one, you know? Like,
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important, like I think it's important to see like how bad you want it. And I do agree that like if you give anybody an apprenticeship or you just like let anybody tattoo, then like maybe they don't really want it that bad. But at the same time that I feel that, I also feel classically, bro, but I also feel like who are you to say that people shouldn't tattoo? Yeah. Like, who are you to say that anybody shouldn't tattoo? Tattooing fucking, like everything else, fucking tattooing is colonized. It's fucking colonized. White people, we're not the first fucking people to tattoo. Absolutely not. But then like indigenous people, brown people. Yeah. Black people, like
people to say no, right?
Yeah,
like, no,
exactly.
No, you can't learn to tattoo,
right? So it's like, oh well, fucking Sailor Jerry says like it should be this way. Well, fuck Sailor Jerry. He was fucking guaranteed he was homophobic and racist. Like, come on, dude. You know what I mean? Like, we can appreciate tattoo history and also at the same time acknowledge that like maybe that's not like the only way. You know what I mean? Like, I speaking of like people hating on like people, I've heard recently from friends of mine like some backlash over me and my homies collective, our private studio, because a lot of my homies that work there haven't been tattooing for that long, or like my homie Maggie, like she taught herself, she's still learning, so whatever. So right, so I've heard from little birds everywhere that, which from like heavy hitters, let's say in the game, there's some people that really support us, like Seven Sun, fucking Taki, I got a good list of people that are like, hell yeah, do what you want, you know what I mean?
It's a sick shop.
I think so.
tattoo
I love.
collective. I thought it was great, and you
Yeah.
like built something that you're like, this is where I'm fucking comfortable. This is what we're
Yeah,
making.
and you know, my friend Aurora, she worked really fucking hard to create a space like for us, like for queer people, for trans people, for people of color, for indigenous people, like for women. You know what I mean? For like she didn't have that space. Like she's never had that kind of space. Yeah, I don't care how fucking short of a time she's been tattooing. She's been tattooing long enough to know that she's been working with a bunch of fucking white people and that they don't know a lot. You know what I mean? And that it's tasking. It's like it's it sucks the energy out of you. Yeah, to have to like make a space for that. Like, why not just make our own space? You know what I mean? Like collectively, especially with the world right now, like we don't know what walk-ins are going to be like eventually. Like hopefully that still happens. That's a big part of tattooing, but you know, we had to survive. We had to find a way to survive. Like I remember when Aurora hit me up and was like, look, I love you. I respect you. Like I would love to open a studio with you. You know, would you be down for that? Like just me and you would just get some, you know, just to have our space so we could tattoo in it, you know, privately. And I was like, fuck yeah, I would do that. Like, I'm like, I don't even know really a lot of tattooers, even friends included, who I would work with in a small space like that, just us two, you know what I mean? But Aurora is such a fucking sweetheart and she's so good and she's so humble, like, and so new to tattooing. She's not like jaded, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she like,
that's definitely a real thing.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Where you're like, why are you so salt? Like, I thought we were
Dude.
having fun. Like,
I know, like, oh my God, I work with so many fucking older, I've worked in a lot of shops. I worked with so many older tattooers that come in and they're fucking so mad. And like, especially when I was like, what, 2 years into tattooing, like 3 years, like I'd meet these dudes and I'm just like, what's your problem, dude? Like,
is that the same people who are hating on this tattoo collective?
no, these are people
it's like,
in like Wisconsin that I worked with. But no, like, you know,
like
there were tattooers that I know that I'm like, dude, what? Why are you so mad? You're drawing. You're like making money off your art. We're all here to chill. Like
the best job in the world.
Yeah, just like cut it out with that crybaby bullshit, dude. Like if you don't want a tattoo, there's the door. You could just leave. Like it's not that crazy, you know? But yeah, I mean, so anyways, Aurora's not like that. It's nice to be in a space that I have a lot of people around me that have good energy. Like we all just want each other to thrive. We all just want each other to help each other. You know what I mean? Like we share supplies, we pay rent together, we fucking clean up the space together. Nobody trips if like somebody leaves their garbage and the other person has to take it out. We're just like, I love you. Of course I'll do that for you. It's like it's way more of a family than I've ever had, you know? Like, and that's not to talk shit about my other tattoo shops. I'm just saying I'm really happy right now where I'm at, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
what's your tattoo collective's name and what's
it's called Tres Leches Tattoo Studio, just a private studio, and it's in Oakland. Yeah, and it's a collective. Like nobody's anybody's boss. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Nobody profits off anybody. Really yeah, nobody's taking a percentage from anybody. It's just we just do it ourselves. That's how we roll. Like appointment only, whatever, you know, just chill. And some people like so this is the
never mind. I'm not gonna interrupt you. You're like on a roll.
I talk a lot. I know. I'm like, let's go.
Who does all the paperwork and stuff like for the licensing and everything? Do you guys just like divvy it up?
Yeah. We just divvy that up and do that individually, pretty much. We talk about a lot of stuff. Like we have a group chat. We talk about it. Everybody's like, cool. How do you feel about this? I feel cool. How do you feel? Like it's very open. It's very honest. It's very like transparent. Everybody knows what's going on. You know what I mean? It's pretty sick. So, but yeah, it's like, so obviously I get upset when I hear that some people are hating on us because I'm like, why?
I mean, fuck them. Like they like
well, yeah,
definitely don't.
Definitely.
But it's like really corny to hate on that, right? It's
I mean, I'm like, what are you so mad about, bro? Like,
they're like,
you're not getting any less money. You know what I mean? You're not getting any less money. We're happy.
It's like a queer like tattoo shop.
Well, so I heard that it's not because it's not because of it's a queer shop. It's because it is people don't think that Aurora, which she didn't open it by herself, and she didn't open it to profit off anybody, and she didn't like it's not technically a shop or a studio, like it's a private studio. It's a collective, you know.
Mhm.
But the drama that I hear is like, oh, somebody's talking shit saying like Aurora shouldn't have opened that up because she's like too new in the game, because she's like 2 years into tattooing. And I'm
A lot
like,
of tattooers
so
do
what?
that too. Like people who are like way who like she's a pretty good tattooer, you know.
She's
They're-
pretty fucking good.
yeah.
She's pretty fucking good for
But
being,
that happens all
and
the
that's why
time
I'm
in
like,
industry and
you
nobody
jealous?
says shit about it. So like why anyways, can we talk about whenever you first moved to San Francisco and you started like figuring out that you were trans and everything?
Yeah.
We have like 20 minutes and then we'll take some questions and stuff.
Okay, cool. I'll try to cram it in. Talk too damn much. So the question was, when did I move to San Francisco and when did I start transitioning, right?
Yeah. And then
and what? Sorry.
I just remember this story that you told me about like the first time you saw a trans person and like when that was like kind of like clicking for you and everything. I thought that was really interesting. But you can tell whatever you want.
Well, it's in the Midwest, where I'm from. It is like Chicago's more liberal than Wisconsin. I've lived in both places. I'm from Chicago, and Wisconsin's like, it's weird. Like Chicago's like people are less nice but more liberal, and in Wisconsin it's like people are nicer but then they're like secretly a fucking racist and a bigot.
Yeah.
So
I think where
weird.
I'm from, they call it like Southern hospitality. They're like, "Hi, how's it going?"
Exactly. Yeah, and then they're like, "You're going to hell."
Yeah, you walk away and they're like, "That's a fucking faggot." You
know? Exactly. Yeah. They're like, "Bye, have a sweet day," and they got like a Confederate flag on the truck. Yeah, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's very different in the Midwest as it is in the Bay Area or California, but Bay Area specifically. I always had like a kind of like a group of friends, like a lesbian group of friends when I was growing up. It was like, that's how I identified. And we just like kind of found each other and like we would hang out, you know, all the time. But those were like my friends who lived in like a different town. So I had to drive like 30 minutes or whatever, or take the train like to go see them. Like they were my friends outside of like my high school friends. They weren't friends I had access to all the time, you know. Mm-hmm. And my high school friends, like they weren't really gay or anything. So it was weird, like growing up. I didn't really have that much access to anything queer. I don't know, any kind of example, like any especially with trans people. Like I was telling you earlier, like the only trans people I knew when I was a kid growing up was like the fucking people on Maury that I was watching, where they're like, oh, like man is actually a woman in the caps, like, and then it's like, you know, fast forward and they're like, hey, like, they're like, oh baby, like I gotta tell you, like I was born a woman, like I'm actually like not a man, and everyone's like, boo, fuck that, that's fucked up, you know what I mean? Like that's what I knew as trans. So not really a welcoming, like, hey, come, you can be trans. You know what I mean? It's like very frowned upon, very not cool. Luckily, my mom was intelligent and had, my mom's never been like homophobic or any of that. Like my mom's an immigrant, so, and her family's an immigrant. Like she just like was very accepting of me my whole life. And when I came out as gay, like she was like, yeah, what? I don't fucking care. Like I remember having friends that were like getting kicked out, and we were 14. Like I was 12 when I came out to my mom. Like kind of, I told her I was bisexual. I was like, I'm just gonna like ease into this, you know.
Yeah, dip my toe in.
Yeah, I think I'm bi. And she was like, okay, like whatever. And yeah, I did. It was crazy because I thought it would be way bigger of a deal. And I was like crying thinking about it. And then she just like, yeah, I don't care at all. Like, I was like, oh, okay. sick as fuck. So my mom was always pretty tight about all that. But yeah, at the same time, I never had really any trans kind of, like examples
Yeah.
for me as a child. So except for I have my best friend's trans, and I like watched them kind of transition. They did it very slowly.
When you were younger, like in high school?
This was later in my 20s. I was 19 when we first became best friends, and
that's like the only representation that
that was all I had. And and I didn't compute quite to me, and I probably just because I was scared, probably just because I didn't think it was that easy. I watched Tali go through it, my best friend, and I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, I felt so protective over them, and like I understood it, you know what I mean? But I didn't quite understand it fully because I didn't even realize that, like, why I was so unhappy for so long, And as soon as I came to the Bay and I was around like fucking queer people and trans people and gay people and fucking drag queens and like everywhere, fucking rainbows everywhere, just like, and people being so fucking nice and just so openly themselves. Like, I never ever lived in a place like that. And I always knew it was a gay hub, of course. Like, I was fucking, I was like 23 when I moved here. And
it's a wild sight, and especially like I feel you because I lived in Missouri and everything, and
so you already know.
Like, and there's so much to learn about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, I was like so not politically correct. I was like so like I had no fucking idea. Like, I was getting called left and right. Like, bro, you can't be saying like you gotta
like your own self-hatred stuff. Like,
and that
like, something gay or like whatever.
Yeah.
You're
totally.
Like, wait, I'm like degrading myself, or like I'm hating myself, or
it's fun when Tali and I, my best friend, when we were when we both identified as lesbians, like I remember like we talked about this like maybe a year ago. We laughed about it. We're like, hey, remember that time that we were fucking drunk? We were like about to go to this party and we were like just talking shit about somebody that we knew that like transitioned. Super fucked up. Not at all. Like, doesn't at all paint me in a good light. But I'm just being honest. Like, we had this conversation and we were making fun of it because obviously we were projecting. Obviously we were both trans. And obviously we had a lot of trauma and built in with that, like like the Mari stuff I was explaining earlier. It wasn't okay like in our community to be trans like openly, you know what I mean? It like I didn't have any good example. I didn't have any example of people respecting anybody that was trans. I didn't have any example of people being happy in trans. I only saw trauma and hurt, and I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't know what it is. I just know like that I don't want that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm cool being a lesbian. I'll just keep wearing makeup, even though it's torturous. Like, you know what I mean? Because like my mom doesn't want me to be a fucking butch, like, oh God, thank God you're not one of those lesbians. I'm like, okay.
In the boots, I just can't.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's another thing. Like, so when I came to the Bay, I was around so many more queer people. Like, those are the first people I connected with, other than like everybody at Ocean Avenue, But obviously I was gravitating more towards the queer aspect because I'm like, I want to be around my people. You know what I mean? Like, it feels validating. It feels good. It feels safe.
And you don't have to like put in all the time to like teach the people around you. It's like, oh, the people around you already know. So like, let's just.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, I can explore who I am now. Finally, like, people are validating me. People were validating me for not wearing makeup. People were validating me every time I cut my hair shorter. They're like, wow, you look so good. I'm like, for real? Okay, that's crazy. Because I thought I was ugly as fuck, but that's good. You know what I mean? Like, and I was becoming more comfortable. Like, I was becoming like, okay, more myself, And yeah, that was the first time I ever saw a fucking trans guy. I was like, a happy trans guy with friends, with hot girlfriend, like everybody fucking, like just in love with this dude, like so cool and so nice, like, and so clearly like genuinely happy. Like, I saw that and I was like, wait, that I could do that. Like he did that. I could do that. Like,
You're
and then I
still
remember
allowed
talking,
to have it all. You're
yeah.
still
And
allowed to
I
be
remember
happy.
talking to my friends about hormones and, HRT and all this stuff. And they're like, yeah, dude, it's not that crazy. You know what I mean? Like you can pay for it. It's not that insane. I'm like, wow, actually. And I started researching it more. And then like, yeah, just one day I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't want my pronouns to be she anymore. Like that doesn't feel good at all, Um, yeah, and it all started with here. I mean, it would have never happened if I left the Midwest, I don't think. I mean, maybe
Maybe like
eventually,
20
but
years, everything
yeah,
feels so
maybe 20
slow
years,
there. Yeah, you're like
which would
slowly
suck.
start
That's a lot
catching
of,
on and be like, oh, that's why that's why I
yeah,
feel this way.
yeah, totally. It's crazy. Like you, it's crazy once you start your transition too, as at least for me, I don't know about other trans guys out there or trans people that identify as masculine or like as male, like, or men. Like I don't know if it's the same, but for me, it definitely, I'm happy that I started my transition when I did because I had a lot to still unlearn. As I was learning who I was, I had to undo all the shit that I thought was true. You know what I mean? That I thought was like just how life was. Like I didn't really start like, I stopped being an asshole maybe when I was 22 or whenever Sam and I had that talk, like, but I didn't really start evolving until I transitioned, until I was like, it still doesn't quite feel right. You know what I mean? Like I still don't like wake up and want to like fucking kiss the sky, like something's wrong. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm thankful that I came out when I did. I'm thankful that my mom was so supportive. I'm thankful that I had a support system around me. Like that's the main thing that I would say. Like if people are scared to come out as trans or people are scared of like, just, you have people. You just won't know unless you are yourself, unless you show them who you are. But you got more people on your side than you think. I had aunts and my fucking Nona was like, she's like, cool, like you're my grandson now. And I'm like, I almost cried. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you got that so quick. You know what I mean? Like, and people don't have that, So it's like, you gotta hold your people close. Like when you come out as trans, know who your people are and keep them close to you. Cause that shit will take you all the way to figure out who you are. And when you got your people on your side, like you could do whatever the fuck you want to do, like whatever is going to make you happy. You have people around you that want to see you thrive. And like, that's how you should live your life every day. You shouldn't keep people in your life that don't understand you. Like maybe they'll come around, but like, don't hold that on, don't hold that energy with you. Like let it go. Cause it's not worth it. Like being happy and being yourself, like those should be the two most like your top priorities in life, along with fucking being nice to people.
Fuck yeah. Do you want to take some questions?
Yeah, I'm down to take some questions.
Okay. Well, let's see here. First, we got a couple hellos in here. Let's see. So, Kim says, hi from Kent in England. Billy Narn says, hi guys, tuned in from Scotland again. Couple more hellos, but I think we want to get to some questions here. Sorry.
Hi, no. Scotland, okay.
Yeah, right? I'm like, whoa, far.
Yeah.
We're up late there.
That's awesome.
Drunken Yoda says, love you all, miss the tattoo industry, had to stop when the single parent thing happened, but still supporting everyone and love tuning in. Okay, now we've got some questions here. So Gage says howdy, Nurse says it's working, Donji says woot. Okay, getting closer to the questions. Okay. Nakobe asks, do you both feel like femme presenting tattoo artists feel like they have to keep up that wall, especially when starting out? That was one of the questions that came in the very beginning.
We're both answering this, right, Haley?
Yeah. like when in the beginning, whenever you're femme presenting, does it feel like you have to keep holding up that wall? Like is it required to hold up that wall of being an asshole to keep people off of your shit?
I don't know.
I kind of think, yeah, in a weird way. Like there is so
feel the
much
same.
shit. Like, and like I worked for a shop that somebody, like I got hired and the guy was like, I don't like your breed. And I was like, breed? What are you talking about? He's like, woman, you know, and then wouldn't talk to me.
It's gonna go real well.
Half I worked there, you know? It's like, so you do have to like keep your like bite and stuff like handy, right? I would say like, and keep your wall handy, but like when you can like let some nice motherfuckers in. Cause I also worked with another guy like Jared at that shop who's like the nicest person. He had like the cool long beard and stuff, but he was like, hey man, I fucking love you.
Yeah.
You know? It was like, wow, you're great.
Like, you're cool as fuck. Yeah.
So it's like you have to keep your wall and your bite handy, I think, just as a survival method, right?
Totally. Yeah, I think it's essential, honestly, to in like a kind of industry that's always been like an outlaw industry, like fucking bikers and fucking murderers get tattooed. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that way anymore. You know what I mean? Like the fucking kid at Walmart has a face tattoo, but it's like, it's still is possible. Like you still will run into those people. Like they're not going to stop getting tattooed. Like, especially men. I feel like it's important to kind of stand your ground. It sucks that you have to do that, but I do think there's a lot of dudes that don't respect women. They don't respect like a feminine kind of person. They just don't, like, because they're more dominant and that's what's important. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't fucking care. And sometimes you have to be like, fuck you, dude. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't scared of you. And that's it, you know? I agree.
Do you think that, like, all right, so we're in the Bay Area, it feels like really, like, people talk about, like, the bubble that we live in and stuff like that.
The gay bubble.
Like, yeah. I feel like out in the Midwest, like, not much has changed, like, shop-wise, you know, or, like, street shops in those smaller areas and stuff. I feel like they're still living that same life that we're talking about. I don't think it's gone, you know?
No, I do think that the Bay Area is extremely progressive. I think a lot of the times that in the United States that sometimes we're like the first people to fucking do something. We're the first people to protest. We're the first people to speak up about something. We're the first people to, like, you know, I'm really thankful for that. That's why I feel at home here. And I felt at home so quickly because my views align with everybody around me. You know what I mean? And that's just not how it is. It's like, it's just more suppressed in other states. There's just more conservatives. There's more, you know, people like that. I think, like,
more people trying to hold it down. Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah, because people don't want to move here. Like, I had fucking weird ass old dudes, like, you know, that would like comment. I remember in the tattoo shop, like me telling my client, like, yeah, I'm moving to San Francisco. It's gonna be awesome. And I'd hear like this fucking old white dude just like, well, why do you want to move there? A bunch of fucking kooks over there. I'm like,
I always got the land of fruits and nuts. So you're gonna go there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's
like,
exactly
but the
why I'm going
weather's
there.
great, and I'm like,
Right.
hell yeah, that sounds sick.
Right, because I'm a fruit bitch. That's why I'm going.
Wow, yes, that sounds lovely.
Right. Ah, yes, the land of fruit and nuts. I'm down. Sounds gay. I'm in.
Yeah. Are there any other questions, Gabe?
Oh yeah. Okay, so let's see. The next one from same person. You and Haley are both so incredible. This is a fun one for me to. I can't wait for the answer. You and Haley are so both incredibly chill. Is that a personality trait that most tattoo artists develop over time?
I hope so.
With age, I hope.
Yeah, I hope, but unfortunately, probably not. I mean, what, like I said, which I'm sure you've worked with these same fucking dudes, Haley, like, just the dudes that, like, you're like, wow, how long?
So
how long have you hated tattooing? Why are you still doing it? Why are you subjecting people to this anger? Like, I always feel too, like when, like, I got tattooed by that fucking creep that grabbed my ass, and I can't help but feel like his energy is like fucking branded me forever.
I have got the fucking tattoo from the guy who taught me too. Like,
yeah, dude. it's like
it
you
sucks to have that like hate live in your tattoo, and so you're gonna come at people so fucking angry,
right.
and then
Yeah,
you're
and
gonna
it's like,
get in their skin. Cool.
no,
Great.
nobody wants
Love
that,
that.
dude. Nobody wants to deal with that, dude. Like, I don't know, man. For me, it's way, way easier to use my energy wisely. You know, staying calm. Like, and I'm 28, so I hope I just get calmer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess maybe my secret is weed, because I'm very calm all the time. Takes a lot to get me heated. Well, maybe not a lot. I'm still Sicilian, but I definitely, I feel like I know. I mean, I feel like I know in general more or less like how and when to use my energy, and you know what I mean, making sure I put it in the right places. I'm still learning, but yeah.
And if you're like chill and cool to people and nice to people, and they made the big step to walk into your tattoo shop, you can give them
Right.
like a tattoo that they actually care about all the time,
Totally.
because they're like, oh wow, that person didn't treat me like shit. That was
Yeah. Wow, I actually feel good leaving that
I
shop.
feel really good about this shop. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of things people don't talk about, or tattooers don't like admit really, is that like it's fucking intimidating walking into a shop. Like,
Period.
especially as a young kid with no tattoos. You're like, I don't want to fucking look stupid in front of all these big ass dudes with tattoos. Like, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, it's just intimidating. People with tattoos like can be intimidating to other people. You know what I mean? Like, we all know it. We all gotten looked at for
And
trying to steal
we've got a
shit or
bad
whatever.
rap.
Yeah, exactly. We got a bad
from-
rap. We're a couple
from
bad
the
apples.
from the older guys, they're like so fucking hateful and shit, and it's like that gives us a bad rep, right? So then they're scared
Totally.
to walk into our shop, you know.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I say it's
Okay,
old guys.
sorry about that. Okay, so next up, Danji. Sorry, my pronunciation's horrible. But what they say is, or what their question is, when it comes to the sexual harassment or mistreatment, do you find that it's become easier on you since your transition? And have you experienced any new forms of mistreatment as a male presenting tattoo artist?
Yes. To the first part, it is way different now. I mean, I've definitely had, you know, there's been tattooers in the past that have like, you know, cis male tattooers that have hit on me or treated me one way, and now it's like fucking sick tat, bro. It's like way fucking different. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, it's definitely changed. I mean,
They just like
it's
the
like
picture
one day,
of you, like
yeah,
now they actually like your tattoos.
right, or like one day, like you know, like I say, like one day I woke up, but like I mean, when I transitioned, it's like one day I woke up and all of a sudden, like what I have to say is important. You know what I mean? Like super fucked up, like very fucked up. It's like it's seriously night and day. Like, I mean, I don't have to worry, or it feels safer now. I mean, I don't have to worry about dudes so much like in the tattoo industry, like trying to get in my pants or like looking at me in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of fear has like dissipated with that, but which sucks. It sucks to say. It sucks to like hear like oh, like it's easier being a man in the tattoo industry, but it is totally easier. I mean, like you don't get harassed, like especially when you're a fucking hot chick with tattoos. You know what I mean? Like people want to fucking be near you. People want to grab you and fucking like it's just weird. Like if people fetishize you, it's like, which still happens if you're trans or anybody, but yeah, it's definitely changed. It's definitely night and day. I don't experience that really anymore with male tattooers. So yes, it is different. Yes, it is extremely different, and no, I don't really. Like all that sexual harassment shit, it doesn't really happen now. I mean, people don't. I've been working out, you know what I mean, but also people don't fuck with me now. So yeah, it's
And
definitely changed.
You're a part of a collective that you feel safe in. And
Yeah, I mean, nobody
good.
like that would come into our space. They just
Yeah.
wouldn't. So they're not allowed. You know, that's a cool thing about.
No creeps allowed.
Yeah, no creeps allowed, dude. Creeps out. Get lost, kick rocks, dude.
Are there any others, Gabe?
Yeah, let's see here. Aurora says, hi, sending you both so much love. Thank you for this. What would you like to see done differently, if anything, at tattoo conventions?
That's a fucking good question, my friend. We would like to see more fucking safe spaces for bi-TPOC fucking people. I want to see like more fucking. I know Aurora and I had this conversation earlier. Like, we want to see more pamphlets. Like, if people be willing to leave like a pamphlet maybe on their I can't think of the word right now. I'm blanking on their table. Wow. Yeah. At the convention. You know what I mean? Like, on their table, like, hey, you know, these like what is that? You know what I'm talking about, right, Haley? With the it's like sexual assault, like in tattooing. It's like these pamphlets,
like resource guides.
Yeah, and I think what was it, Sema that did that, or who?
I didn't see him.
Okay. Well, Aurora knows more
That's
about
great.
that. Yeah.
Awesome. I want to see less like symbolism, like the like rape demon dude, and like less like just like hateful images. That's what I want to see less of, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I can like walk through there, and if you know like some like certain types of like styles history, like Japanese history and stuff, you're like, wow, cool. That's the demon that like rapes and steals children. Cool, love that's there. But you think you see it everywhere, you know? And it's like, oh, that guy has one too.
Yeah.
Fucking sick. Like, I hate that. It actually like pisses me off a lot. And I'm like, does anyone know who they're representing here? Like, okay, whatever.
Totally. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that goes to say with any of that, any of the racist splash, any of like,
or the sexist, misogynist stuff. Ooh.
Yeah. Like you know what I'd like to see? Less fucking, or I'd like to see zero white dudes specifically, but I'd like to see zero people that like everybody who's not indigenous to stop doing indigenous tattoos on people.
Seriously.
Stop that shit. It's so fucking cringy, dude. Like, just stop. There's so much other shit to draw. Like, you're just not.
It's really easy to not culture appropriate. Like,
yeah, it's super easy.
So fucking easy. Like, you just have to like, you know, have your own brain. Like, you don't have to rip off every fucking buddy, but whatever. Yeah.
It's just like, dude, if you know, it's like I tell fucking every racist person I talk to, like, dude, if someone's telling you it's fucking racist, if someone's telling you, hey, that shit's not cool, like, they're right. You know what I mean? Like, if a fucking black person is telling you, like, this is racist against black people, if an indigenous person is telling you, like, don't fucking tattoo a chief's fucking head, like a Native American chief's head on, like, some fucking white kid, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you've took enough from these people. Relax. Take a fucking seat, you know? There's so much other cool imagery to draw, dude. Like, seriously, there's a fucking million things to draw. Just stop appropriating shit. It's annoying as fuck.
Hell yeah.
Period.
Well, I did just open up another trove of comments and whatnot, but it feels like maybe people should be going over to the podcast and leaving reviews and stuff, because otherwise we might be able to keep talking. Everyone's very excited and very appreciative of the stories.
Sick.
Great.
Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Should I close it out?
Yeah, it sounds, unless it's up to you. Your show.
Do we want one more question? I feel
Let's
like
do one more question.
Right here. Yeah,
perfect.
And then I'll close it out.
Okay.
Do you find that people of color are more comfortable in your shop? I know I've had artists tell me I couldn't have colorful tattoos until 2017 because of my skin color. I would probably never be comfortable in a shop with a bunch of cis white guys.
Referring to my shop, is that what they're asking about?
Correct.
Yeah. No, I have had lots of friends that are lots of my Black friends, lots of my brown friends, lots of people of color, lots of trans people come into the shop and say that exact thing. Like, I feel really comfortable here. Everybody's really chill. Everybody's very respectful. Like, it's just not a shop full of cis white dudes, and that's just period what it is. I mean, it sucks that it sucks that people don't share the same ideals, you know what I mean? But really and I'm saying that thinking about like, it sucks that we had to create our own fucking space for that. Like, we couldn't just have a conversation, which we've had and we've tried time and time again with all these people that we've worked with throughout the years. Like, and when I talk about that, I'm speaking like for everybody at my studio right now. Like, I hope I can speak for everybody, and I've had this conversation with them a few times. So, but it sucks that that it doesn't ever go further than like this talk. And then they're like, cool, yeah, whatever. And then like your fucking trans friend comes in and like, what's up, bro? And I'm like, you can't do that shit, dude. Like, how many fucking times, it's like, eventually it sucks, but yeah, we got to open up our own space. But it feels good now because now my clients feel safe. My clients feel like they can come into a space and get a fucking tattoo and leave happy without anybody making any fucking weird comments or like having this weird energy or hearing a fucking dude tell a racist joke. Like, it's definitely, people of color are definitely more comfortable in the studio. So that's cool.
All right, I'm gonna close it out.
Right.
Let's see. My website is Haley Adams Tattoo. If you want to follow Ace on Instagram, his handle is the Hooded Ace. Mine is Haley Adams Tattoo. And do you have a website?
I don't have a website, but the studio has an Instagram that Aurora just put together for us because she fucking rules. But the Instagram is.
You can also,
sure.
I think you can put it in the chat too.
Oh, can I? Okay. I'm pretty sure it's just Tres Leches Studio.
Cool.
And it is. So yeah, follow that if you want.
Okay, great. Live in the Castro district of San Francisco. I'll see you later. Thanks for coming, Ace.
Thanks.
And thank you, Gabe.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Absolutely, have fun. And just a last reminder for everyone to go check out the podcast stores for Live in the Castro, because Haley's done an awesome job of getting them up, and she said it'll even be up tomorrow, but we'll see.